So this week's video is a campfire cooking compilation. This is actually part 2. Part 1 we made in the first season. You might want to go back and check that out.
It's in season 1 and in the how-to section.
In the playlist, season 1 playlist and the how-to playlist as well. Alright, gonna do a quick campfire steak. You don't need a lot of oil. If it's just a couple onions, just hold the pan so that it goes to the side, fry them up. I like to fry the onions up and then we'll cook the steak in the same pan with the leftover oil. I say those are about good enough for me. Sometimes you just got to hold it up above the fire a little bit. Let the fire catch up if you're putting it directly on coals. Which is good to always have some welder's gloves or wood stove gloves, whatever. Five minutes on the first side, flip it. And I season both sides. I know a lot of seasoning comes off in the oil, but I do like to season both sides. You like a more smoky flavor in your steak. You can also cook it directly on the coals or use a grate. You don't have to use a skillet. I find it easier to use a skillet on a campfire. Looks done to me. Time to cut it open. Onions back on top. There we are. I like to cut into this, get a piece of that. Oh, it's excellent. Little onion. I don't like to say perfect, but I don't know if I can get much better than this. This is pretty good. It's cooked just a little more than what I like, but it's hard to control over a campfire. I don't like a lot of things with my steak. Some asparagus, some onion, peppers, sometimes even fry some tomatoes. I think over campfire steak is probably one of the easiest things to make. Some people might think steak is more complicated, but actually it's hard to screw it up. As long as you don't burn it, it's pretty easy to do over a campfire. Another camping food that a lot of people tend to like are s'mores, but have you ever heard of a s'mores spread? So a s'mores spread is made from just a couple ingredients. You use a marshmallow fluff in a can, and you take chocolate chips, preferably mini chocolate chips, but any kind of chocolate chips will do. If you have concern about gelatin in marshmallows, it might interest you to know the marshmallow fluff in a can is typically vegetarian in most cases. This is the sort of thing that you could prepare ahead of time at home before you leave for camp, or you could do it at camp as well. Either way, we like to prepare it beforehand. That way it's ready to go, less messy, less mess to deal with in the campsite. Now don't eat it all. Basically, it's just a matter of getting a good amount of the marshmallow cream in your container and then put your chocolate chips in on top of it. So there isn't any particular recipe or special proportions on this. Just a matter of to taste, I suppose. But you just put your chocolate chips in there, stir it around. Plenty of chocolate chips in there. It's almost, I don't know if it's quite 50-50, maybe 60% marshmallow cream, maybe 40% chocolate chips. After it's all mixed up well, it's just a matter of spreading it on your graham cracker, and you can warm that by the fire or in a pan. Or another thing you can do is get those waffle cones, ice cream cones, and fill one of those and then warm it by the fire. You get a nice gooey treat. It's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really wonderful, good, gooey treat. If you like s'mores, you'll like this.
Tonight we're making some handy dandy foil packets to cook on the fire. This is heavy duty aluminum foil. You're gonna take it and fold it in half. And then your edges, you're gonna fold over a few times. And now you have a little bag to stick your goodies in. Our foil packets, the first one's going to be a chicken sausage with summer squash and zucchini. This is a spinach chicken sausage going in, a handful of zucchini, and a handful of summer squash. Our second foil packet will be a turkey sausage with sweet peppers and onions. A turkey sausage going in. A handful of some onions. And a couple handfuls of some peppers. And our third foil packet will be a beef bratwurst with potatoes and carrots. Going in. Carrots. Going in. And potatoes going in.
And it's a good idea to write on there, on the outside of the packet, what's inside. Otherwise, you might not know what's in there. So now the time has come to put our foil packets on the campfire. And what you want is coals. You don't want a big roaring fire. You can either scrape out some coals to the side or do what we did, just let your fire burn down the coals, and we'll just place them on the coals directly. You're gonna spread our coals out a little bit. So we're going to leave our packets on the coals for about half an hour, and we'll check them then and see how they're doing. All right, it's been 30 minutes. We're going to take some of these off the fire and check them. All right, the ones with the potatoes are probably the ones that should have taken the longest, and that's what we're checking here first. Potatoes definitely done. And if the potatoes are done, everything else is going to be done because the potatoes take the longest to cook. One thing that's really good about these packets is you can just tear them open like this, a little meal in a packet. So let's try one of these. We'll try each one. We got the chicken, turkey, and the beef one. And yeah, those potatoes are done. The beef one's pretty good. How's the turkey? I'm gonna try this one with the chicken and the zucchinis. This is a very convenient way to pre-make a meal and bring it along so you can just throw it on the fire and basically you're just warming it up. The vegetables need to be cooked, but the meats are already cooked. So there you go, a simple quick meal. This is easy to prepare ahead of time. You bring it along on your camp out. All right, this one you don't make over the campfire, but you can eat around the campfire. This is a trail mix.
1/3 cup of chopped dates rolled in oat flour. 2/3 oven roasted almonds. 2/3 dry roasted peanuts lightly salted. 1/3 vanilla covered yogurt raisins. 1/3 dark chocolate yogurt flavored raisins. 1/3 dried cranberries. 1/3 semi-sweet milk chocolate chips.
And that is how we make our trail mix for enjoying around the campfire or when hiking.
You gonna share that?
What's up? All right, another thing that's easy to cook over the campfire is fish. A lot of people would think fish is more difficult. Basically, you just want a little oil in the pan, put your fish in there, a little butter on top, salt and pepper, and it cooks real fast. So you don't need big roaring flames, but we do have some here, I guess. So we're just gonna set the fish there on the edge. So we don't want it to burn. We'll take it on and off as needed just to try to regulate the heat a little bit. But mostly it can sit there. Starting to fry up good. Yeah, every once in a while I'm picking up the pan. Not so much because it's getting too hot, but because the weight of the pan's pushing on the coals, pushing on the wood, and letting it go out. So I'm picking it up to let some oxygen in there, let it get going again, and I put the pan back down. All right, there we go. Fish is done, and bigger piece will take longer, but basically all you're looking for is that it's flaky. As soon as it starts to flake like that, it's done. So it's not really a time thing. This took roughly 10 minutes, but it's not really a time thing, it's a flakiness thing. All right, gonna try some of this fish here. Like I say, you're just looking for that flaky fish. Oh, that's good. Yeah, fish isn't hard to do. It's probably one of the easier things to do. Fish and steak is another one that I think is pretty easy to do. Well, that's it for this one. If you've enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends.
And hit like and subscribe.
If you'd like to receive notifications, hit the notification bell.
All right, thank you. We'll see you on the next one.